I find it really, really important that every time I'm trying something new, really stretching myself physically, emotionally, and that's when the real rewards come, and that's when you get that personal growth. So for me, I risk assess by separating the facts from fear, because fear is an emotion which can be quite useful at times, but you have to try and take those emotions out of a situation, particularly in a life or death situation or an extreme situation where there's a lot at stake. And it's about looking at things objectively based on your own experience, based on a bit of theory, but for the most part, it's about being humble enough to accept what you can see around you and make a solid decision. And I've been in those sorts of situations many times, both in my time in the parachute regiment, fighting in Afghanistan, through to expeditions all around the world. So it's really important to take away the emotion and look at the facts. The decision-making process, I find, particularly when under pressure, is made a lot easier when you simplify things. So for me, it's all about stripping away anything that's not essential to making that decision. You've got to be courageous sometimes to make a decision. Sometimes you can get stuck in this indecision loop, and that's the most dangerous position to be in, I think. And so it's about simplicity, stripping away things to the essentials, looking again at the facts, taking away your emotion and just making a rational, logical decision. What I've learned from being part of a team on an expedition, and there's no such thing as a one-person expedition. There's always a team where, even if you're doing a solo expedition, there's a team that you've worked with to do the preparation, to do the pre-prediction, and that you rely on. So for me, on my long distance journeys, I have a team. They're not necessarily always with me, but I'm always looking for advice, for inspiration, for assistance along the way. So I think really what I've learned, and what I think is transferable to the workplace, is being humble enough and having that humility to take advice, to realizing you don't always know best, even though you've got lots of experience, even though you're the person in the thick of it. Actually, sometimes you do need a fresh set of eyes, and I think having diversity in the team super important. I make sure that wherever I go, I try and do my homework. I try and research as much as I can about the place, but none of that can take the place of a good local guide. And that's what I find when I'm on my journeys, on my travels, is finding somebody from the local region who's got special expertise, who's a subject matter expert to travel with me, that can act as my translator, my guide, my eyes and ears, and just somebody to enjoy the journey with. And I think that goes the same in any team. It's having a really cohesive team around you that really enables success. I remember when I was in the army, my platoon sergeant used to say, if you want to achieve great things, you've got to surround yourself by great people. And I've never forgotten that. The explorer's mindset for me is all about overcoming fear, ultimately. One of my favorite quotes by a guy called Joseph Campbell is, "In the cave you fear to enter lies the treasure you seek." And I think that's true, that you've got to really push yourself, expose yourself to new situations, step out of your comfort zone in order to reap the rewards. And I know it's a cliche, but it's true. And so whenever I'm on a journey, whether I'm working on a project, I find it really, really important that every time I'm trying something new, really stretching myself physically, emotionally, and that's when the real rewards come, and that's when you get that personal growth. Because exploration, it's not about planting flags in the map anymore. It's not about necessarily breaking records. That's part of it, but I think it's just as much about the inner journey and personal growth too. So I think pressure is a real force multiplier, and what I mean by that is that under pressure, that's when the best ideas can come out, because it kind of forces you to make a decision. It forces action, and it forces innovation. And when I was in the army, one of the quotes that's used for a motto is sometimes the boldest measures are the safest. And it's true. Sometimes it's like if you're flailing around, unable to make a decision, stuck with too many options, that's when you kind of stall. Actually, sometimes if you just commit to something, go big, go bold, it's kind of that old cliche of go big or go home, that's when the great things do happen. And I've always stuck by that, whether it's on my journeys, on my projects, in films, and even in photography. It's like if you make a bold decision, that's when you can innovate, that's when you can learn new skills, new techniques, new ways of doing things. So it's kind of being open-minded, being courageous, and being decisive. Leadership for me is about leading from the front. I think that's first and foremost. You should never ask anyone in your team something that you're unwilling or unable to do yourself. I think that's definitely something I learned during my time in the army, because people will respect you, they'll follow you if you're able to do everything that they can do, hopefully better. And by doing that, you set a great example. And I think at the heart of all leadership is having the values, the integrity, and the standards that people will respect and admire. And that's what will inspire other people to follow you. So that, for me, is the most important thing. It's about being brave. It's about having the moral integrity, as well as the physical integrity to keep going and push yourself. But I think it's definitely the moral component, which is what will really, really inspire people. So when I come back from a journey, when I've finished a project, when I've learned lots of lessons, what I really enjoy is sharing those lessons with people back home. Because even though I've been in places like Antarctica or the Amazon or the desert, not everybody's going to get the opportunity to go to those places, but the lessons are still relevant. And for me, it comes back to what I said before about overcoming fear. And if I can get even just a few people to realize that beyond fear, that's where the greatest rewards lie, then I feel as though I've done my job. Because I think that whether you're in the workspace, your personal life, everything really comes back to the courage to make good decisions. And hopefully by listening to some of my anecdotes from around the world, that's what people will take away, is the inspiration to go and think about things differently, to go and make new decisions, to go and transform themselves in a meaningful way.